So I do call myself a design entrepreneur because when I set out, we did a lot of consultancy. But what happened at that time was we did consultancy, but if we wanted to deliver a product, it was impossible because there was no organized furniture manufacturing, and the understanding of quality in terms of design as well as manufacturing was absolutely abysmal, terrible. So what did we do? We therefore set up our own manufacturing and backend. I will take you through all that. Hope you will enjoy. So if you want to talk about design, it's not that everybody walks in through the door of a design school and says, I want to be a designer. There has to be passion. And anybody that is going to do design is passionate about what we want to do. So design is about passion. Design is about changing lives, because what we do, and I'm saying all of us here who are going to be designers in the near future, you want to change lives. You're not just going there to sell dalda, So there's a huge difference. The other thing is passion is what drives entrepreneurship. Everybody can't be an entrepreneur. People who are entrepreneurs are passionate about it. So design has passion, entrepreneurship has passion. Let's talk about our country, India. India is about passion. Everything that we see here is passion. Look at those colors. I mean, it's beautiful. Look at our festivals. Look at our artisans. Everything is passion. So then automatically, the other connection between entrepreneurship, designers, and India is passion. India is passionate about all these things. We are passionate about religion, about politics, about food, about cricket. We are passionate about travel as well. You go all over the world, you'll see so many Indians traveling everywhere. In that case, the environment is perfect for design entrepreneurship in India, as passion drives everything. Is that true? And should that mean that any designer that goes out there and starts working is going to be successful just because you got passion? No. Not so simple. Okay? Actually, far from the truth. So let's talk about it. The passion and the desire to dream is what has fueled most designers, and similarly me. But it's been a long road to success. It's not been easy. There are ups and downs. It's a rough road. But only passion will take you where you want, and a few other points which we will talk about. So the dream led me to the beautiful city of Bangalore. 1985 is when I graduated. 79 is when I joined NID, along with my dear friend Sonal, who is here as well, same batch. I knew nobody in Bangalore excepting one senior who had actually gone there and had started practicing design. There was John, I guess you know him. And of course, the beer was cheap, the weather was lovely. Okay? So the decision was easy. I'm going to Bangalore. So I took the first train with all my worldly possessions, which included a cycle that I had bought for $100 from Sunand Bhattacharya, who was a senior of mine. That was also loaded on the train, and I went to Bangalore. Okay? Everything was new, it was exciting, and I was all excited. I'm going to a new place. I'm going to become a designer, a practicing designer. Okay? I was going to start my crusade to change the world. Okay? Armed with good design. The world changed me. But I didn't bend, as we will look at it. 1985 to 1995 was the germination of entrepreneurship for me. I had made up my mind that I would never go and work with somebody. First of all, there were no options. There were no design houses. There were no companies who understood what design was. So if they give you a job, they'll say, yes, you can work here. There is no problem. But you know, what's the salary you're expecting? Oh, we can pay you only $1,500 a month. I said, really? No problem. If I earn 500 also, but I will not work for you. I'm going to do it myself. Okay? We started. So the name Tesseract came from a workshop that we had at NID by a professor from the Pratt Institute in New York. It was called Tesseract. Tesseract is actually a cube in the fourth dimension meaning time. It was a very interesting exercise. It was mind-bending. We really, really enjoyed it. And therefore, we decided we will call our firm Tesseract. And there were 4 of us. So the name Tesseract evolved. We actually started with only one aim, that we were going to give it our best. Okay, it was a constant battle. Nothing was easy. There were days we had no money, and we couldn't even have a cup of coffee. But we said, we will fight. It was a crusade. It was tough, but it was very exciting. Okay, but it strengthened our resolve. Really, really strong. Made us strong. Okay, and that's what we called it. We called it Tesseract Design. There's the 4 of us a long time ago. You can see there's hair on my head, but I've decided to remove it. There were a few constants. One constant, we never had money. Never. We were always broke. Okay? Second constant was to excel. Whatever we do would be out of the box, would be empathetic for the user, okay? Which made a big difference. And third was to have fun and enjoy what we did. Remember, I told you the beer was cheap. So we could drink all the beer we wanted. At least for that we had money. But it was always exciting. There was never a dull moment. So this whole thing was a huge, huge amount of learning for us. Now, entrepreneurship is not just about a vision, it's about the details as well. So we need to work on a large scale at a macro level. We also need to work at a micro level. So all of it has to happen together. We did a huge body of work in Tesseract. Those days, you can say there were no opportunities, but you can also always say that it was just a white piece of paper. We could write anything on it that we wanted. So when we went to a client and said, listen, we will design something for you because we feel your products can do with design, but it'll also help you sell more. A classic example was the idli grinder in the south. I mean, anybody from the south will know what I'm talking about. Of course, everybody eats idlis, but you don't know how it's made. So the grinder was one ugly thing which was always kept under the kitchen counter, hidden away. You don't want to show it to anybody. So we said, this is being used every day. Why the hell should it be there under the counter? It has to be on top. It should be like a nice mixie there. Of course, those days people who had mixies, it was a pride to own one, a good one, like a Brown or, you never got anything those days. So we said we'll bring it up on top of the counter. And we did. We changed the design. This was for a manufacturer based out of Coimbatore, and they were called LG, E-L-G-I. The funny thing is, after the design was completed and it went into the market, they were the biggest selling idli mixer and grinder in the country. And the funny thing was, very soon we started finding clones and copies coming out in the market by other manufacturers. Now that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. Good thing because it says that what you've done is right. Bad thing for the guy who's manufacturing it. So he had to actually patent it, he had to design, register it, and he started suing others left, right, and center. But that's a part of the game. That's a part of the excitement. We did a lot of work with tensile structures. We did a huge amount of work for retail design. 1989, 88, 89 was the time when ready-made garments were coming out. Till then you went to a tailor, he stitched it for you. One side was big, one side was small, or it would be perfect. It was your luck. So when you started getting ready-made garments, you went there, you checked it out, this fits great, and you buy it. So the concept was just starting. So Weekender was a chain that came to us and said, can you design our stores? We said, sure. We approached it from a very system kind of an angle because these stores would be replicated. The chain stores were never there. Today, you're born into it. You come in and you say, oh, there's a Levi's store. No, here is Salvatore Ferragamo, and there is something else. But that time, there was nothing. So we worked on the chain, keeping in mind that they will replicate it across the country. The identity has to be the same. The look has to be the same. We should be able to put the store together in a short time. The funny thing is, those days, if somebody wanted to put up a store, you called a set of carpenters, you told them, here is what you need to make, they'll sit on the side, dark, they will build the whole store and go. But they'll take 60 days, they might take 120 days too. You never know how much time it will take. The good thing was, the way we worked it out in a system approach, and this was only possible because of design thinking. We could put up a store in 21 days. The display system was made somewhere else centrally, and the site was organized in such a manner that you could finish everything in 21 days, install the store, and on the 25th day, the store was open. So over 10 years, while I was there, we had crazy times. We had magical times together. We had people from different areas of design come and work with us. So it was fantastic because you had opportunity to work with other designers, think with them, work with them, and they would come, they would work with us, they would go, they'd leave behind something interesting for us. So it was an exciting time. But another key component of an entrepreneur and of a designer as well is this sense or feeling of restlessness. You cannot sit back and say, now I have done it all. You've never done it all. You're always beginning. You're beginning today. You'll always be beginning. However many years you've spent in design, you're always going to start discovering new things. So in the last years of Tesseract, we actually floated a small experiment where we set up a small company called EcoSpace, which was going to sell furniture in the Indian market. So we set it up, we put it out there, we had a launch, and this was all done in Bangalore. And over 3 days, we booked 15 lakhs worth of orders. And in those days, 15 lakhs was a lot of money. And this was in 1994. So the fact that people were open and people were in need of good furniture was evident. But we had never done manufacturing and retail. We didn't have that much experience. We messed up. We didn't get our funds on time. And we had to close. So that actually led me to believe that furniture was a huge area for work. And I, being a furniture designer, my first love was furniture. So I moved out of Tesseract and said, I will set up my own furniture company. 1998, nobody knew about VCs or PEs or investors. So we're trying to see how to raise capital. Somehow we made a connection with this. He's one of the first VCs in the world based out of the US, Draper International. He heard about us. We had a couple of phone calls. Big man, Mr. Bill Draper, flew down, came to Bangalore. We had a small office where there was nothing much happening, but I had just left Tesseract and we were starting. He sat there under the tree. There was a beautiful tree. The weather was beautiful. And he signed a term sheet for us for $1 million. But $1 million at that time was a lot of money. And it was a huge boost for us, considering that we have VC funding. We would have been the first furniture company in the country to have got VC funding. I mean, today you have Pepper Fries and the Urban Ladders of the world. A lot of junk is being sold. However, 1998, May, India did the Pokhran blast, nuclear blast, and OPIC, that is Overseas Private Investment Corporation of the US, put a ban, blanket ban on any funds coming into India. So Mr. Bill Draper's term sheet evaporated. We never got the money. Okay, so we are back to the grind, back to starting again. So, well, we did. So that's why I would have to say, to be an entrepreneur is probably the hardest things anybody can do. You can have easier jobs by going and working in companies. Today there are a lot of big companies that will take on a designer and pay you good salaries. You don't have to worry about fighting for 1,500 rupees. You get a lot more. And you can be comfortable. There are a lot of things that you have to know to be an entrepreneur. there are skills that we don't know. Like, for example, manufacturing was not a skill we had. Retailing was not a skill we had. Finance was not a skill we had. My skill was design. My knowledge was design. So we need to be able to work with people who have these skills, work with them closely, because it's impossible to do everything yourself. You have to work with other people who are interested in doing the same thing. So, learnings. How do you build a viable business? And viable business, here I'm talking about business that is design-led, because as designers, our first focus is going to be design. First, scalability. Whatever business that you build has to be scalable. If it is not scalable, it's not a business. So, scalability, very critical. Targeting the right audience. I'm talking purely from the point of view of design, manufacture, and retail of products. Value proposition. What is the value proposition that you bring which is different from others? What is the difference between Pepper Fry and Urban Ladder? I'm going to ask these questions later. So, key differentiators, and in our case, as designers, key differentiator is design. Is design, because your solution is empathetic to the user. It is not just some product brought from China or from Croatia or from the US and being sold in India. It's something you've designed for an Indian consumer. And trust me, the Indian consumer is very, very different. How? Just have a get-together in your house, maybe not your generation, maybe your parents' generation, and you have 10 people where couples have come. The women are sitting together in one place, most likely the bedroom, on the bed. 10 women sitting on one bed. Okay, the guys are around the bar or on the dining table. 10 women, there'll be some kids also jumping on the bed. The bed shouldn't collapse. And any other furniture design or made in say China or even Europe or the US, is not designed for this. It's designed for two people to sleep. So you jump on it, the bed will collapse. So do you think about it? We need to think about it. We are designing in India, one of the biggest countries today. All the focus, all the attention is on India. We rule, we lead. So we must do for our own country. So who are we targeting? India has a very interesting pyramid. We have people below poverty line, we have mass segment, we have the middle, we have the upper middle, we have the rich, we have the super rich. Who do we target? So once you set that I am going to target the mass, then everything that you do has to be focused towards doing that, which means your setup has to be large enough to be able to cater to that. Or if you're going to work for the upper middle, then what is the size of the market? How do you work towards it? Etc. Okay, early 2000, when that was the time I started Quetzel, along with another designer from NID, Sarita Fernandez. So we actually started by targeting the IT companies, like what Mukesh had mentioned, that the Infosys, when they were setting up their first office, there was nobody who had workstations or furniture systems to take care of 700 people sitting in one office. 700 people was a huge number of people in an office. Today you have 5,000 and 6,000 people sitting in an office, but 700 was big that time. So we started, that's Sarita and me, and we took a small loan, we set up our first factory. Now, this is an interesting story. I believe in destiny. I believe in connectivity which happens, which is predetermined. We were actually sitting in our small little office, just a 300 square feet office at that time, and we had this lady in high heels and, very well dressed, very erudite, just walking. I mean, I don't know where she came from, but she came and said, I've heard about you. So you design good furniture. I need a bunk bed. So I said, my God, one bunk bed. How do I make it? Okay, it's impossible. So we talked to her nicely, sweetly. She gave us a number, and she said, get back to me. We said, okay. The moment she left the door, we forgot about it. 6 months later, I get a call, and I look at the number, it's the same lady. I said, oh my God, I have not done a bunk bed. What do I tell her? She calls me and said, can you come and meet us? We have an office that we need design. So I went there, dreading it. She's going to ask about the bunk bed. Well, she didn't. It was good. I went and sat there along with Saita, and it was a 12,000 square feet office, reasonably large, not very large. And she said, we want it completely designed. We don't want normal stuff. We want something completely different. We said, great. Then she said, I'll introduce you to my husband. So her husband came in and he sat there as well, and the office changed from 12,000 to 25,000 square feet. So, your thing is also going up. Wow, 25,000 square feet office. By the end of that meeting, before we left, he told me, I have a 22-acre campus in Electronic City. I need the whole campus designed. We said, wow. So we said, we'll do it. Then he said, how will you do it? Do you have machines to make the stuff? We said, yes, we've taken a loan. We have a small loan from the bank. We will buy the machines and we'll make it for you. There was time. How much do these machines cost? So he said, I'll work it out. He says, let me know. Call me back. So we left. We sat down. Me and Saida, we came back, worked out a list of machines. Then I called him and said, roughly this much. He said, these are Indian machines or these are the best that you can get? I said, no, these are Indian machines. No, what is the best that you can get? So we sat, worked it out. The best machines we always dreamed of owning, from Germany, from Italy, from Taiwan. Made a list and told him this is what it costs. He says, okay, let's meet. Went back to his office. He says, all right. Now, I will give you the money to buy the machines. You make sure that you work out the project at a cost that works for me. So we were very happy. And mind you, we had not even signed an agreement with him. He went into his cabin, came back with a check. Here's a check, order your machines. So, of course, the many years that we had worked, we had built enough trust and reliability. So, he would have done his due diligence in the market and found out that we are reliable and we won't run away with the money. So we started our factory, and that's the first factory that you see there. This is set up in 2000. All those machines. I saw some nice machines here as well. I was quite impressed. Felder is a good company for your application. Okay, but we had to buy manufacturing ready machines. So we set up our first factory, and that was the beginning. And we did a wide variety of work. I'll take you quickly through things because I think we don't have so much time. So this is his office. As you can see, we did a completely new system for furniture. Those days everybody had panels and it just looked like ugly cubicles, so we needed a lot of free space. We didn't want cubicles where you can hide. So we designed a very open kind of a system which was beam based, and that was the first of its kind at that time. And yes, it was successful. Finally, there were 5,000 people sitting in this facility, and the entire facility is done by us. And today, when I go back to that facility, he's become a close friend. You go back to his facility and you see the furniture is still there, still looking as good. Whereas other places, the fabric is tattered, other offices that we've seen. So ultimately, the difference is because of design. It's not because we manufacture it. It's because of design added to manufacturing and understanding that I will not let even 1% down in terms of quality. So again, different kinds of seating systems. This is a seating system for a public area at the KSRTC, that is Karnataka State Road Transport Corporation. It's been there for years. I think now it's become prehistoric, but it's still standing. People can sit on it. There's no maintenance. Very, very comfortable. And it's a mix of all kinds of materials. Or, meeting tables. We've done a lot of work in school furniture. We have done work for the Bangalore city as well, which is street furniture Bangalore city. And if you can see here, it's a combination of concrete, wood, and metal. Worked out, keeping in mind that it should not be something that somebody can come at night and take home, So the concrete was heavy, it's not easy to transport. And of course, we had also had to take into consideration that people will not come and sleep, but that was one of the criteria given to us. Though I believe if there is street furniture and there are people there who don't have a place to sleep, they should be able to sleep on it. But, well, the criteria was people should not be able to sleep. So we put those little bars in the middle, but human beings are pretty adaptive. And we've seen people sleeping on it in spite of that, which is nice. Retail, we've done a lot of retail design concepts. This is a store called Hariz. They are based out of Bangalore. They are into fresh produce. And we completely redesigned. These images that I'm showing you are from like 2002 and 2003. That's a long time ago. But At that time, a very, very different kind of a concept. So nobody had thought of doing it this way. Himalaya stores, Himalaya drugs, their entire identity was designed and built by us. We did a lot of work with Benetton because Benetton came into the country and they were desperately looking for people to partner with. They traveled all across the country, and finally when they landed at our place, actually he breathed a sigh of relief. He said, finally I know I can get what I want. And we did a lot of work with Benetton. The level of accuracy required in the fittings was immense. And the thing is, trust me, with your naked eye, if something is off by even 1 millimeter, you will see it. So it had to be perfect. It was not an easy job, but I'm proud to say we were the only guys who could do it. Ethos is a high-end watch store, a company that sells watches across the country. And we designed the entire identity, that is starting with the logo, to the graphics, to the whole display system, and the way the store looks. This is done for Tata Tea. Tata Tea wanted to have outdoor kiosks, which would be interesting, which would be an interesting place for people to hang out. They would come, have tea and other snacks, and they could sit around. So we created a space where you could actually walk up those steps, sit on top, and sit behind. There were benches to sit behind. The whole thing was a completely knocked down structure built out of timber and metal. Pretty complex to figure out, but to put together and assemble was very quick, very easy. So setting it up somewhere was not a problem. We did quite a lot of work with them. As you can see, including spaces for advertising and brand building, everything was in place. So the team expanded. We were about 250 people at the end of 2007. And we were working on projects. And unfortunately, the thing with projects is projects are not scalable. And every project, you need to be deeply involved. So if a client comes and says, no, I only want to meet Sandeep, I'm not going to talk to anybody down the line. I have to talk to Sandeep. So what happens is, Sandeep can't clone himself. Today we can. That time we couldn't. So we had to do something else. We had to work on something which was scalable. So we had to refocus. We said we will get into a segment where we can retail our own furniture. And of course, strategic partnerships help. So to grow, we needed partnership. And we tied up with this very high-end builder in Bangalore called Total Environment, where we said we would redesign your spaces. We will make those products for you so you can offer quality. And we will also continue to do our own work. So we actually were focused on high-end homes. So we would do the entire home, the entire furniture, the entire woodwork, and not done by sitting at site with carpenters, but a systems approach where you could design everything, manufacture it in the factory at very high quality, and then take it to site and install it. So you can see these are all, including those huge windows. Everything was designed by us, engineered by us, and then installed. And this is the first of its kind. There is nobody doing something like this across the country. So what is the Quetzel difference? First, foremost, without a doubt, empathy for the user. If my product doesn't have empathy for the end user, my product does not exist. Or it'll be a fad which will come in for a while and then it'll vanish. So empathy for the user is very, very important. Delivering value is very, very important. Okay, being fanatical about detail. Because you can't just nail a piece of furniture together and send it to somebody. Just make it look good, thoda thuk polish karke bhej do. वो नहीं हो सकता है. You can't do that. So using technology, very, very important. Technology keeps growing, changing, and if we don't stay abreast with it, we don't use it, you will be left behind. So technology, very, very critical. Our manufacturing uses the latest technology in CNC. So we make furniture on machines where you feed in the drawing and the machine will do the job exactly the way you want. So if you want something 101.22 mm, you will get 101.22 mm. It won't be 19-20, that is not acceptable. We have to do it right. So this is the existing facility. It's a fairly large facility which manufactures furniture and which has all the high-tech equipment to manufacture it. We have also retailed. We have done physical retail basically to understand the market, and in different cities. These are some of the Quetzel stores that we've had. So if I just quickly go back to this product, anybody over here who's a Gujarati will understand that the swing, the chula, is a very, very important part of your life. Okay? And if you're in Ahmedabad, which I was for 6 years, a lot of that rubbed off on me. I mean, the chula is a great thing. Yeah? So we designed something like that. This was for Ahmedabad, so the chula had the pride of place as soon as you entered the store. So this is the Bangalore, one of the Bangalore stores. So what do we do in terms of product ranges? We do basically furniture for homes, because 60% of the market in furniture is for home furniture, okay? So bedrooms, living rooms and things like that, these are all the furniture. And our focus is largely solid wood and veneer. We use very little of metal. Our belief is this, that wood is a regeneratable resource. You can plant trees, keep planting and cutting. That's the way the whole world does it. We don't do it here. Our timber comes from France, our timber comes from Germany, from Croatia, and from the US. And when we buy, the way it is done, which is very interesting, is the person that has the sawmill has 20,000 acres of land, and he's got trees which are built up. He's got a lot of trees there. Every year they will cut a certain amount of trees from there, and they will replant. So maybe 20 years later, when the guy comes back, this is grown back again. So it takes very little energy to grow. Wood takes very little energy to process, and it's a lifelong product. If something goes wrong, you can refinish it, reuse it. But with metal, it's difficult. Metal you have to mine, and there's only that much finite amount of material available. You mine, you take it out. Yes, you can recycle it, but the energy consumption is high. But this is my belief, okay? And that's why we work largely with wood. And this range of furniture that you see is targeted at the middle and the upper middle. So talking about details. We also have an interesting line of furniture for kids, focused for kids, and it's the most important factor for that is safety. Kids are not miniature adults, so they have to be protected. So everything that you have for kids has to be something which takes care of safety first. And then, lastly, if you don't buy Quetzel, this is what you'll get in the market, okay? Our vision, to create a paradigm shift in the furniture, home, decor, retail space in India. We are today at the verge of raising fairly large capital to take the business pan-India and make it available to anybody that wishes to buy Quetzel. Well, as a designer, as a creative person, it's not just design that that fuels you, that drives you. You have other passions as well. Some people might love cycling. Some people like to go hiking. Some people like to go trekking. Some people like to go fishing. So many things. Some people like auto sports. Well, my passion has always been photography and more so wildlife. So I'll just quickly take you through a few images. So, thank you for listening to me. I hope I have not bored you.